murder. Man, it's like the Coast of Nostra. It's that 848, 848, 848. Ooh, money and murder. 848, 848, 848. Ooh, money and murder. Rest in peace.
You are listening to I Hate Average podcast featuring Jay from the Bronx.
What's going on? What's going on? It's been a while. Well, it's been about 2 weeks. I missed last week. Took a little break. But we back at it. We regrouped. Today's guest, you guys are in for a treat. We got Antoine Inch Thomas from 848 web series. Let's go. I got him. I was nervous. I was thinking, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we got him on 848. But anyway, very, very interesting story. Not only is he the creator of the web series 848, he's also a well-known author. He has the book No Regrets, Flowers Bed, to name a few. And we went into his story. I veered off because the more he was answering, you never know what people are how they're gonna answer your questions. And the more I went into his story, hearing that how he actually published his first book while he was still in prison, it inspired me just to know that he had the wherewithal and he wasn't deterred by his situation. He still he figured he had a gift and he wanted to try it out, and it inspired me, and it also kind of upset me because I got mad with myself at how I have everything, not everything that I want, but there's nothing holding me back. I can walk outside anytime I want to. I can study anytime I want to. I can, I can use the bathroom anytime I want to, shower anytime I want to. But this is someone who was locked in jail for, I think he said, I believe it was 10 years or over 10 years locked in jail, but still had, he didn't see limits. And to me, as someone who wants to I view myself as an entrepreneur, but I have not a full-time entrepreneur, basically mostly because of fear. But he wasn't afraid. He stuck it out. I don't want to say he used it as an opportunity, but because it's not an opportunity, but he didn't let it stop him. And a lot of times we let little things stop us, little tiny obstacles. And you have this great obstacle and you still overcome it. So it's really, what I'm trying to say is there's no excuses, right? So he was able, no internet, because this is the 90s. There's no internet. There's no email. So he basically, from hand, looking at different addresses, he found publishers. I'll let him, he'll tell the story. But it's interesting, and it just shows how literally, if nothing can stop you if you don't let it. If you really want to do something, you can do anything you want. That's what I got out of it. I got him on to talk about 848 and talk about, the different content, the direction of the show and things of that nature. But the further I got into who he really was, the more I was inspired. And I feel it's something that people need to hear and people need to consider. What's really stopping you? It's just something I took away from it, and I hope you guys get something out of this. It's an amazing story. So without any further ado, check out the Antoine Inch Thomas 848 web series interview. All right, everyone, I'm here with Antoine Inch Thomas. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. You guys, I'm sure you've been hearing about Antoine and his web series 848. You can check it out on YouTube now. It's becoming very popular. I kind of got some questions about the direction of the show. But also, Antoine, very, very, very well known. Well, from, I guess, my generation, very well known author. You wrote some kind of controversial street novels, Flowers Bed to name a few. What got you started with doing web series instead of staying with writing novels?
Well, I think with every author, they eventually want to see their work on a big screen. And I realized that it was going to be pretty difficult without a huge budget to even have my stuff featured at like a film festival. So when I learned about the YouTube platform, I just figured I had to find someone with a camera or get my own and probably do something off of one of my books. What I eventually did was I created an entirely new story.
Okay.
And, I got with a team, put it together, and we started shooting. We came up with a date for release, and here we are.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of love. The show, I've been interested since season 1. And also, one of the things that I like, it's not like a typical, yes, they have some violence and they have some, drugs, but also, I don't know if it's maybe your sense of humor or is it purposely where, like usually before there's a shootout or a killing, you always like say a little words or you have like a little message like right before. Is that purposely?
I think that began subconsciously, but and those are actually laws from the 48 Laws of Power, a book written by author Robert Greene, and I think we can like apply all of those powers to our everyday life. So it was kind of, I guess, like humorous for me to add it right before I kill someone. I say one of the laws of power, or one of the laws that I guess was in reference to the actual scene or events leading up to the scene. After doing it a few times, I figured I might as well add that as like a signature.
Definitely. All right, so I guess maybe fan of me wants to ask this question. Why would you let Benny get arrested? Why would you let Benny get caught?
Oh, well, with season 1, some people were saying like, hey, and even though everybody knows it's fiction and it's a web series and it's on TV, it's fake, people were still wondering where are the police? How come no police officers are involved? Now with season 1, we went raw and hardcore with it because we was trying to get our foot in the door fighting amongst all of the other web series.
Of course, yeah.
And I think we accomplished our goal. When it came to season 2, I figured I wanted to make the story a little bit more mature. I wanted to add in some substance, like the cancer situation. I wanted to add some romance, which is the relationship between Nitty and Moon, Benny's sister.
Yeah.
And even with the character Hamo, I wanted to incorporate a situation where it didn't seem like the cleanup crew were the most notorious people in New York City. I wanted them to go up against some people that were just as tough, if not tougher.
Yeah. Also, you have the element of basically, it seems like the older traditional, gangsters with principle versus these young boys who just kind of reckless. Was that intentional also?
Absolutely. Today's society, with a lot of the youth being raised, I think, by hip-hop, back in the days it was the opposite. You have a lot of these hip-hop artists pretending to be something that they're not, and they're exaggerating it. And then you have the youth today trying to emulate that. And it in turn makes them a little bit more reckless. There's a lot of less respect nowadays, which there used to be
definitely
a lot of respect back in, like, let's say the 80s. People used to be out there selling drugs. You see someone's mom or an elder approaching the neighborhood or the area, everybody would stop, cut it out what they was doing. They would help the people in the building carry the bags, things of that nature. Nowadays, people don't give a damn about anybody.
Yeah,
old, young. Yeah, you got people shooting kids, babies. You had a situation in Chicago where a gangbanger, I guess, gang member, he was trying to send a message to another gang member, and he shot the kid's 10-year-old son, like, multiple times, like 10 times.
Wow.
And it just shows not just a lack of respect, but a lack for human life. Like, people don't even care nowadays. So I wanted to incorporate the youngins, which is Hamo and his crew, bread and butter to show that, just to highlight the behavior of some of these youth today.
Definitely. So, also, I guess as a writer, do you have in your mind, of course, you're still doing the 848 and it's becoming popular, and I know you want to see how far you can take it, but as a writer, I know you have stories in your head. Do you see yourself, producing or coming up with additional web series?
Well, the web series, the advantage that a web series have over versus a movie. Movie, it's one shot, probably like approximately in between an hour and 2 hours. You see it one time. It's not ongoing. You can watch it in one night. With a web series, you have to wait every week, and you kind of have the attention of all the viewers for, months at a time. And that can, when you have something like that, you can build a stronger and more loyal and huge fan base because these people are rocking with you and they're growing with you over time. With a movie, you do it in one shot, then you upload it or sell it or however you're going to present it, and then that's it. Now, I did plan on doing 848 for more than 2 seasons, possibly 3, maybe even 4. But right now we're going to take a break and we're going to try to go straight into the Flowers Bed project, which is going to be a movie, not a web series.
Oh, wow. That should be great.
Yeah, Flowers Bed is one of my best sellers. It's probably my best seller on my publishing company. I think we moved upwards of 80,000 units since it's been born. And it's considered a hood classic. It's ranked amongst the best, like Be More Careful, True to the Game, Coldest Winter Ever. So for years, people have been asking me to bring it to the big screen. A project like that, I was hoping to do something like, with a big budget. Definitely. But now, again, with the web series and the YouTube platform taking over and my production team, being pretty good, I figured, might as well do it the way we did the web series. Pretty low budget, but just high quality, and upload it to YouTube and see. And then even with a movie, it's easier to shop to organizations like Netflix. I mean, not Netflix. The Redbox, because when I got in touch with somebody about the web series, they was asking me if I can combine it all together and make it like one story. Yeah. That it would be easy for them to host it that way. Unfortunately, I couldn't. So I mean, I could have. It would have just been very long. It would have been about 6 hours. Yeah.
So I guess since you brought up the books, do you ever? Is it something that's known amongst authors where usually the most popular books, the most popular street novels, I would say, the main character is usually always a woman? Is that something that you guys intentionally do, or it just happens?
Nowadays, a lot of the main characters are female in novels. It used to be when they were written by a male, the main character used to be a male. Like one of the best-selling authors, the guy named Quan Foy, his first book was called Gangster, and the main character was a male. But what happens is the majority of consumers of almost all products in the world are female, especially with books. So you want to establish a fan base as an author by catering to the women, but you want to make your story hard enough to also for guys to be comfortable enough to read as well.
Definitely makes sense.
And, women, they do, they appreciate a strong, thugged out, nice-looking guy, but they can relate more to a female. So, females, they like females and males. And males, they're just going to, focus on the female. So if you have a male-based character, guys will read it, but they really want to look at a chick.
You're right. So what got you started with writing? What got you writing your first novel?
Well, I was away in prison doing a long sentence, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to get by with my time. I was doing, the typical activity, playing cards, a little bit of sports here and there, and then I got into rapping.
Okay.
I think I was a decent rapper, but with all of the time that I had, I figured when I come home, I was going to be a little old, And if I got with a label, they would probably want to go with like artist development, which takes years. By the time I was ready to release an album, I would probably been around 40 years old. So I figured, that's probably not the route that I want to go. I had bumped into a Philly rapper, also fellow author named Jimmy the Saint, who I ended up publishing one of his novels. And he and I got into a huge rap battle. I did pretty well, gained some fans at the prison where I was at. And after our session, I asked him, how come he never tried to pursue his rap career professionally. He told me that he was signed to Rockefeller, and he showed me a few of his artists who end up eventually being Rockefeller artists. Oskino, Sparks, they were actually his guys at first. But what he told me was that he had just got a fresh 10-year sentence. And he was like, I'm actually writing a book based on my life. At the time, the street or urban literature, it wasn't really popping or popular. So some of my favorite authors were James Patterson, John Grisham, and that's all I was thinking about, like those type of books. So when he said he was writing a book, I was like, all right, whatever. He and I ended up separating. He went to another prison. About a year later, we ended up at another prison together, and we put on a little talent show, I think for like the 4th of July. And after the show, I asked him about the book. He said, well, not only did I finish that book, but I wrote 4 more. And what I want to do is I want to give you my book. I want to give you each book so you can see the growth as I've been writing. So I've read the first book, which was called Decisions. And the storyline, it reminded me of somebody I had heard about, actually Allen Iverson, where the basketball player, where he was doing, he had his little crew. It was, I guess, getting in trouble in Virginia. And he had an opportunity to go, to the NBA. His boys told him, look, we'll help you get through school. Once you make it to the league, you bring us with you. So in this book, it was similar. There was a guy who was trying to go to the league, really good at basketball. His boy was in the street. And but it was an unfortunate situation. The boy that was in the street trying to pay for his homeboy's college, he ended up getting locked up by one of his friends who snitched on him. So while he was in jail, the aspiring basketball player went to visit him. Dude explained what was up. The basketball player one time seen the guy at a coffee shop, the snitch. The basketball player had a gun on him, but he wasn't a thug. So he walks up on the dude, pulls the gun out. The dude takes the gun from him, shoots and kills him, the basketball player. So the guy that was in jail, he kind of felt bad, like, damn, I know dude did it for me. So when I come home, I'm going to chill. And on the strength of him, I'm going to chill. So the guy came home from jail, and he lived a regular life afterwards. So I was like, all right, that's
powerful.
Pretty cool.
Powerful,
I can relate to.
Yeah, definitely very powerful.
So after that, he said to me some of the most important words that I always also pass on to everybody else. He said, one thing is for sure, everyone has a story, but they just got to know how to tell it and want to tell it. Right after that, I sat down for the next 8 days, and I completed my first novel, which was called No Regret. It was easy for me to write because it was similar to it was based off of things that I had gone through personally.
Definitely.
And when I completed it, I had prepared, I guess, a cover letter. And at the time, I had understood that a lot of publishing houses, they would accept the first 5 chapters, and that was part of the submission process. A cover letter in the first 5 chapters. And if they liked your work, they would ask for the remainder of the book. If they liked the entire body of work, they would then contact you or your literary agent, who's kind of like a manager, the literary agent, and then see if they could come up with a deal.
Okay.
So I had sent my first 5 chapters out to approximately 20 publishing houses that I had got the addresses from. Every book that I had read or came across that was written by an African-American author. So Random House, all these.
You're still in jail at this time.
This is while I'm still incarcerated, and I had the one book. So I sent it to several publishing companies, and everybody rejected my work. I didn't know if it was trash or not, but I believed in myself, so I thought it was good. And what happened was I sent it to an upcoming publishing company called Triple Crown, which ended up selling millions and millions and millions of books, of Black urban books. Yeah. So when I sent it to them, it was a young lady named Vicki Stringer out of Columbus, Ohio, who was the CEO of that company. But she also had a consulting partner that nobody knew about. He was somebody by the name of Shannon Holmes, who wrote the book Be More Careful.
Okay.
So he was behind the scenes with her. Again, nobody knew. And when I sent my story, because he was familiar with me and my neighborhood, he kind of lived in the neighborhood, he contacted me and said, look, I know your story. It's a compelling story, and it's all good. And the people around you who know you, they might enjoy it. But as far as the masses, they may not cling to it because the main character is a male character, and your consumers are going to be female. So what you do is you go back, write a book with a female main character, and then resend it to us. I said, all right, humble myself. I was open-minded, and I said, let me go back and do this. I came up with a topic, and while I was writing it, I did some research on how to self-publish. By the time I was done with my book, I ended up self-publishing, and from there I published 16 additional titles of several authors. So my publishing company, as of today, we published 17 books, and nowadays is me trying to jump into the film industry and leave a legacy there, make a landmark there. And with season 2 of 848 coming to an end, based on the feedback and the chit chatter around everywhere, I believe that my goal is being met.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you had the resiliency to do all of this while you're still incarcerated, I'm sure now, the sky's the limit with your storytelling.
Thank you very much.
So, because your story is very compelling, and have you thought about or have you considered, making your first movie particularly about your life?
Not my movie, but I want to use my life as an inspiration to others when I do share my story.
Okay.
So I'm currently in the process of getting access to a juvenile detention center, a co-ed spot in D.C., where I want to go in there and I want to talk to the kids about my life and how I went from the same position that they are currently in juvenile prison to being a well-known filmmaker.
Definitely. Now, I guess because you told me your story just now, I just want to zero to you personally. How did you have that positivity in your mind while you were incarcerated? How did you still have the confidence to write something and the confidence to even, because there's people who have college degrees, they have doctors, they're kind of afraid to send something to a publishing company. How did you have the boldness while you're incarcerated to have to take that step?
I think it was because I had surrounded myself with some positive people, positive and productive people who were doing some things. And I had always been a leader, even from coming up. And I always wanted to be a businessman. I always wanted to own my own business or do something, which is why I got into selling drugs, because I needed money back then. And I always said, well, I'm going to make some money, enough money to maybe one day start my own business. But the judge and the sentence put a halt to that. But I kept the same mind state. And while I was in there, I was like, I need to figure some things out. So I got my GED. I went to college. I got a trade. And I was always enthusiastic, always wanted to do something. I didn't necessarily want to be a bad kid, but I was never the quiet one. I was quiet, but I was always popular in some sense, and I was always a leader, and people always followed me. And I just didn't want to continue to lead people down the wrong path. So when I figured that when I was on the street before I did my long sentence, I was hustling again, and I was dealing with a substantial amount of money, and that put me in the presence of people who had businesses, and they were sharing their journey and their experiences with doing business, and I was like, wow, this is something that I want to do, but unfortunately I was on the run. I was using a fake name, and I was like, wow, I got this money. I can't even really buy no big businesses because I won't be able to keep it. But I was about to anyway. I said, you know what, let me do it. So as soon as I was getting the paperwork for my car wash and my rim shop and all this, the feds came down and snatched me up. Gave me 10 years, and I said it wasn't going to stop me. I said, once I get out, I'm going to continue with my goals, and I'm going to see how far it brings me, and I'm going to be an inspiration. You know, if I could still be in here and still be impactful to so many people and influence to so many, maybe, just maybe I could do some good and help change somebody from, you know, them watching me do what I do. So, you know, God blessed me with a little bit of talent to be a decent writer. And, you know, I just have the courage to go on with and tackle some of my goals. So a lot of people nowadays, they hear about things that people want to do. They hear these stories. But a lot of people, I guess, they might be afraid or just maybe they don't have it in them to go ahead. So what they do is they kind of wait for somebody to already start what they're doing to join it. And I understand that. So I say, well, one of us have to start it one day. And even if it's with something small, I know that it's like a snowball effect. It starts off small, then becomes big. So just like with my project, I didn't have every character when I started writing it. But as the episodes started appearing, started playing or airing, people were coming out of the woodwork. And I think it's a dope opportunity for people who are, let's just say, from the hood or a little less fortunate to be able to, I guess, fulfill a dream of being a movie star. Everybody wants to do that. So even if it's on a smaller level like YouTube, which is still huge because people from all over the world can view it. But
of course,
the people.
I mean, you got to think. It's. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it shows on TV right now that's not getting the viewership that 848 is getting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a huge opportunity.
Yeah, and there's shows that get way more views. Money and Violence, they got way more views. They put in a whole lot more work. You have other shows, Project Heat. There's a lot of web series that got more views than us, but they, you know, networked differently. Some of them have, you know, like, I guess, more well-known or famous celebrities on their shows, and those celebrities they promote on their pages, which bring more views. We kind of did ours from the ground up. Yeah, I did have my readers as my first fans and first supporters, but I always figured, just like my first book, Flowers Bed, if it's a good product, people are going to talk about it, and word of mouth is the biggest form of advertisement.
True, definitely. And also, I noticed.
Hold on.
All right, quick break to shout out Steadicam Fitness. People, I told y'all last episode, check out Steadicam Fitness, Steadicam Fitness. For all your personal training needs, you need meal plans, anything you need regarding your body, fitness, check it out. Steadicam Fitness on Instagram, Facebook, Steadicam Fitness. Thanks.
You know, other web series, they get popular, and they kind of, you know, their second or their next shot up, they kind of try to veer away from the street element. They try to be more, I guess, of a mainstream feel. Mm-hmm. But what made you want to, you know, you still have the shooting, you still have, you know, that element inside your show. You still keeping it basically street. What made you want to keep that up in the second season instead of, you know, trying to become more mainstream?
Well, I know for instance, Money and Violence, their first season was all street. When they went to their second season with Tidal, I'm not sure if Jay-Z was looking for something more upscale, something more to attract more of the masses, because a lot of people in business, they are all about their dollar, and to put it on a platform like Tidal, Jay-Z's fans, he has more white fans than they have black fans, so he wants to cater to more of the white fans. So he could have told them, look, that's cool, you could do the little street thing, but you also got to look at some of these mainstream movies and see how they put together their show, and you might want to go that route. You don't want to have it all shoot 'em up, bang bang, because that's what just the people in the hood really know. The white people in the suburbs don't really know how it is in Chicago, except for what they hear on the news. So they may not be very attracted to that nonsense. However, you did attract them initially, and their attraction was just because they was amazed and like, oh my God, wow. But so for business, we want you to clean it up a little bit, make it a little more dramatic, stretch out the story. Don't give them everything at once. Keep it, I guess, kind of keep them in suspense. That's cool for the mainstream. But when you have your own say-so of the whole situation, I kept my ear to the street, and a lot of people really didn't like the second season of Money and Violence. They watched it because they were supporters and fans, but they didn't like it better than they liked season 1. And because marketing teaches us who to cater to, I wanted to continue catering to the people who supported me from the jump. And I wanted to give them the same thing that I gave them with season 1. I just wanted to do it better. So we got a better camera. I wrote a better story, and I made sure, my actors were better prepared.
Makes sense, definitely. So is there something that you're always going to have in the back of your mind, like when you do projects with companies, when you do movies and other series, are you going to always be conscious of who you're going to be in business with, so you always have control of your content?
If I can do so, I know that, people always say everybody has a price, right? And even though I started this project without any money, and I wasn't looking for any money, as I mature in this business and I learn more, I believe that this project is worth something. It's worth a lot. And so when somebody does come at me, I'm gonna do my best to say, hey, look, the people follow me for this. And I haven't reached people in England. Well, I don't know if I reached people in England. I know a couple of fans are from the UK, so I guess I have. However, I don't want to do this for mainstream white America. I want to do something for everybody. And the reality is, the stuff that my story depicts, it's reality. And whether people want to like it or not, I want to try to stick to the script because it's what my core fan base can relate to. It's what they support. It's what I can relate to. And I think our real story needs to be told anyway. So I'm going to do my best to try to keep it there. I'm not going to be a fool either. And I say that by saying if I'm offered a substantial amount of money, even if I have to, sacrifice one project, if I can deliver another one just as strong back to my fan base, I'll just try to do that all over again like I did it the first time.
That makes sense. Can you tell the people how they could see the web series?
You can log on to YouTube, type in the number 848, the word web series, or you can just type in the number 848 and it'll pop up 848 web series. Click on the circle, subscribe to our channel. That way you'll get notifications and you'll be able to get everything that we post on the 848 web series channel. You can also find me on Instagram under Eden Wall Inch. That's EDENWALD_INCH. I'm also on Facebook under my real name, which is Antoine Inch Thomas. And on Facebook, you could also join our 848 web series fan page group. You just type in 848 web series fan group on Facebook. Click join. We can have an unlimited amount of members on there, and we're also on Twitter 848 web series. So we're everywhere.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate your story and I appreciate your time. And I believe you inspired somebody because you definitely inspired me. And thank you again. Hopefully, we can get you on again sometime with your next project. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Good night.
All right, there you have it, people. Wow. To me, I was inspired. I was motivated. It's a story is interesting. He wasn't trying to be a motivational speaker. He wasn't trying to be an inspiration. He was just telling his story. But to me, it's very compelling just to have that mindset of being locked up and still having the mind to say, look, I'm locked up, but my mind is on the outside. My mind is writing books. My mind is publishing books. My mind is, making films. Even though I'm here in jail, let me look up people. Find a publisher, because my story is not jail. My story is on the outside. So to me, I felt it was inspiring. It's something I think, people need to consider in life, because you have people who are locked away, and we throw them away. We lock them in there, throw them away. We don't care about their thoughts. We don't care about what's going on in their minds. But this is someone who you're gonna know what's on my mind, because I'm gonna write it down and you're gonna read it, and I'm gonna share my stories. And to me, I felt it was inspiring. Like I said, he wasn't trying to be inspiring. He just was telling his story. But it's something that I feel people need to hear, people need to know. And not only the jail piece, but just not letting anything stop you, no matter where your condition is, no matter where you're at in life, not letting nothing stop you. Do the research, figure out a way to make things happen. And that's what touched me. And I appreciate the story. And thanks for listening. Also, people, like I always say, follow me on all my social media. I hate average JAY. I hate average JAY. Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. What else am I on? Also, email me if you want to be a guest on the show, or you have some suggestions of guests that should be on the show. Email me, show@averagej.com, show@averagej.com. Also, more importantly, small businesses that want to advertise on the show, email me, show@averagej.com. It's a very small nominal fee. Guys, thank you so much for the support. Sorry we missed last week, but we back at it, bigger, better. Another great guest next week. I want you guys to listen next week. I'm excited about it. It's something that I feel that it will grab your attention. So I'm rambling now because I'm so excited, and I haven't talked to you guys in a long time. But anyway, see you guys next week.